Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Chupacabra Tutorials channel. I'm your host, Larry the Chupacabra, and we're back, and today we're going to talk about some thumbnail designs. What exactly goes into a fancy schmancy thumbnail design? And more specifically, when you don't really have a lot to work with, when the game that you're trying to create a thumbnail for has a very plain Jane logo. They don't have a lot of flashy, like, promotional images that they've cooked up to try and get people really hyped for it or anything. What exactly do you do? Well, a lot of people will go on to Google, and they'll try to find, like, a funny, slightly relatable image of, like, say, the Ninja Turtles, or some hot babe in a bikini. But if you actually want to go the classy route, that's what we're going to talk about here today. And more specifically, how I went about crafting the thumbnail for Codename Cure, which is a free little indie game that's like a mod of the Half-Life games that is available recently that takes you on squad-based tactical missions to blow up like sites full of zombies so that they don't reinfect the city or some such shenanigans. And when you pop onto their Steam Greenlight page here, there really isn't a whole lot to go with. They've just got a YouTube video that kind of showcases the gameplay. They have a few in-game screenshots from, like, the sniper and some of the other classes, but it's all pretty plain Jane. In fact, on the first glance, it all just kind of looks like a screenshot from any old Call of Duty clone from the early 2000s, because the graphics are not exactly the most stellar thing, and then the only thing they've really got for a logo is this Codename Cure text treatment here, and you can even see that here from their in-game footage that I've got right here. Is all they've really got is this Codename Cure text, and then a handful of like in-game moments. So if you don't have a lot to go on, really, sometimes it's best to just go for something kind of fun and kind of like, what's the word? Collage. So, Codename Cure, you're fighting zombies in a squad-based tactical shooter. So the first thing that we'll do is we'll select a thumbnail we like. Let's just say I want this red one. And we'll open that in a new tab. So here is the big Codename Cure thumbnail. It's kind of red. You've got somebody preparing to plant a bomb at the target location. You've got the bots here in the background, including my bane of my existence, Higgins. And we're just going to grab this image. We're going to drag it down and pull it into Photoshop. So here we go. We've got this screenshot. And now we need to, well, first we need to get Photoshop to behave itself. Sometimes when you tab back into Photoshop, it gets a little weird. Just tab out and back in again. Nothing to worry about there. So we're going to start a new document for our thumbnail. And we're going to call this Sweet Codename Cure Thumbnail. Or just abbreviated thumb. And then we want this to be 1920 by 1080. And I'm going to just go for broke, and we're going to make this at 300 DPI, or pixels per inch. The higher the better, so that way, no matter how it gets stretched or squished or, like, blown up to fit on top of, like, someone's big screen TV at home with their YouTube app on their smart TV, it won't look all pixely and nasty. It'll actually scale pretty decently. And then we're going to go with a transparent background and say okay. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to go to our screenshot of Codename Cure. We're going to select everything with Command on the Mac or Control on the PC. Control/Command A for select everything. Copy that. Go over to your empty new thumbnail template and paste that sucker in there. And then hit Control or Command T to go into free transform mode. And then just stretch it just enough so that we get rid of this ugly interface, because that's not very cinematic. You don't stick an ugly interface on a thumbnail. What am I? I don't know, some crappy designer from the 70s? Shit. All right, so we've got this. It's looking a little red, though. What do we do to make it a little less red? Well, you could do some color correction by hand, kind of manually, but this is just a thumbnail on YouTube. So we're just going to click this button here called Photo Filter. And basically, this is like putting a colored piece of like cellophane plastic over top of an image and then taking another picture of it. It's like a transparent color layer that lets us try to adjust the color in a kind of natural, kind of photographic way, like photographers would do in a darkroom. So once you've got a photo filter placed over top of this background image, you select that layer, and then we're going to go to Filter, pull down this pull-down menu, and then we're going to select Cooling Filter. I'm going to go with Cooling Filter 82, and then let's just play around with this. So we can actually pull it all the way over to the side, and look, we can actually make it look like a regular screenshot. So that's kind of handy. But what did we do in my example? So we've got all this other stuff here. In the Codename Cure example, I intentionally left it red so that it was kind of a little bit more eye-catching. So let's come back over here. Let's close this background image. We don't need it anymore since it's pasted into our new Cure thumbnail. Let's leave it just a little bit red-ish, but I want it to look kind of natural, so we'll just tint it just a little bit, put the color density at 50% here, and then we can start adding some stuff. So the next thing is, if you've got a video editor of your choice, most of them allow you to find that section with the logo back here, and you hit a button that says like export frame or export a JPEG or something, and we select that, and we can say like Codename Cure logo, and then it'll export to my stills bucket where I keep all of my random Premiere Pro exported stills. And so here we go, Codename Cure, or the Codename Cure logo. We'll pull that into Adobe Photoshop, which I've already done, and we would like to acquire this lovely name. Look at it, it's got like these little slashes through it. I'm sure if we took some time, we could probably find the font so it scales a little better, because I guarantee there's probably a font that looks almost exactly like this available on like dafont.com. That's dafont.com. Great place for free, fun kind of video gamey logo or fonts to use in logos and stuff. So we're just going to select the logo here, the Codename Cure, and then copy that over, and then just paste it anywhere inside of our thumbnail document. Yes. And then we'll scale you up really big, because we're fancy like that. And we, just for kicks, let's select it. So you Control or Command click the little preview box here in the Layers window to select just this bit of that layer. And then let's throw on a brightness and contrast layer, which will allow us to just bump the contrast all the way up so that it's just like white on black, which will make selecting the white a little bit easier. And all contrast does is it kind of bumps it up so that there's like just a huge distinct difference between the blacks in a layer and the white colors. So you can easily, like, you know, add some like dramatic poses or dramatic lighting to an image. But in this case, it just makes like the white really white and the black or the darker background really black so that it's easy to select. Then we'll go up here to Select, Color Range, and then we'll just take our little eyedropper, select the white parts of this logo, and then adjust the fuzziness here so that our little preview, it looks like all of the Codename Cure is selected. But because we boosted the contrast, it should, if we bump it all the way to 200% here, it should only select the white. And then we hit Command or Control X to cut that right. Whoops, that's not the right one. Command or Control X to cut it right out. Delete that old layer. And then you can paste this in here. And look, oh, there's Codename Cure. Isn't that fancy? And then just because I don't really like really broad, sweeping, or maybe I do. Normally, I don't like it when like there's a big title sweeping across the thumbnail. So normally I'll do it like this, where I'll kind of like, put it on the next line under. So it's like Codename Cure. It's very nice. It's neat. It's up in the corner. But we could just for this exercise, let's just leave it up there because we don't really need it now that I've got like a finished thumbnail that I'm comparing it to. So we'll just stick her up here. And then let's like give it like a slant slightly, like it's like a top secret stamp on a document. So we'll slant it slightly. And I'm doing the free transform, which is Control or Command T, in case you're wondering. So now it's Codename Cure up at the top, all fancy. But this isn't like a lot to work off. This isn't a very eye-catching thumbnail all on its own. So what do we do to add some pizzazz? Well, we know it's a game about a tactical squadron shooter with some zombies. So that means we'll go up into Google and we'll just type in zombies space PNG. The PNG file type is the most common file type that you'll find used on the internet to create transparent images or images that at one point were a transparent image. And look at what it's given us. It's given us a bunch of different zombies that people have cobbled together from different games that they've hosted up on DeviantArt. And then they've also got a few different guns from the perspective of like Call of Duty zombies that we can select from. So I was using this one over here, but just for kicks, let's grab this one. So we'll open that in a new tab, and then we'll grab a couple of zombies. I like this zombie. I think this guy's from COD Zombies. I've got that installed, but I've never played it. This guy looks cool. He's got like a kitchen knife. And this is from Walking Dead. I want to stay away from television. But what else looks like it's... these guys look like they're from a popular video game. And for the most part, most of these images, if they look like they're from a popular game and they're not like illustrated like this one, they're probably, free for you to use. No one will get mad at you for copyright. But, you got to play it by ear and make sure that it looks like it's from a very popular game. So it's most likely that a lot of people are using these images for a lot of different stuff. So no one's going to get spicy with you. And then I was also using this kind of grody looking fellow right here. So once we've got the images we want to use, you just click and drag those into Photoshop. And see, this one's already on a transparent layer. That's nice about searching for a whatever dot or space PNG is you get a lot of cut out images that are already in transparencies. It saves you a whole heck of a lot of time when you're trying to craft images. I don't need this image anymore. Here we go. So here we've got this big fancy gun. Look at it. It's even got like zombie texture on it. So we don't need it supremely big. Let's tone it down just a tad. But we want it to be a little big because the lower right-hand corner of your thumbnail is where the time code appears. So if we go to my videos library that I've just recently got uploaded and everything, you'll see that the lower right-hand corner of this thumbnail right here, it's where the time code or the duration of the video is. So you want to make sure that whatever you have sitting there is either unimportant or big enough to appear larger than that little square. So let's pop back into Photoshop. I think we'll bump that just a smidge more. Maybe hide the arm guards a little bit and slant it just slightly. Drag it, just stretch it just a teeny tiny bit so it fits nicely into that corner and overlaps properly down here. So what you don't want to see is you don't want to see like a sharp edge just cutting across whatever image you have in the corner, making it look like you didn't pay attention to where you cut off the image or cropped it. So now we've got a nice arm, but the problem is its lighting doesn't really match the rest of our scene here. So you could probably just ignore that for most people, but I'm a bit of a stickler, all right? I do this for a living, partially. So we're going to put in a curves layer, and curves is what lets us control the lighting. You see, this side, the black side, that's the shadows, and then the white side, that's the highlights. So we want to kind of drag down the highlight side and move the shadows back up to about neutral. And you see now it's already starting to look like it belongs more in our scene. In fact, I'm going to throw a curves layer on the background image too. Because the one thing that I always hate when I look at images on YouTube is that they're so dark and I can't really make out what's going on. So we'll just bump the lighting in the main scene just a tad so that the thumbnail will just stick out like a sore thumb. If we pull real back real far and we turn off these curves layers I just added, doesn't it just pop more? Doesn't it just draw your attention a little bit more when it's got a little bit better lighting and it's not so dark and hard to see? We don't need both of these though, just one curves layer to kind of pop the lighting a little bit. And then let's select, control-click our layer with the gun on it. And then let's add... Actually, no, we'll do that later. We're going to want to make everything just a slight tint of red so that it fits into the background just a little bit better. So let's close this and start adding our zombie friends. What's over here? Here we go. The Call of Duty zombie. Let's pull him into Photoshop. So we've got our COD zombie friend. How are you, Steve? How are the kids? Let's select you with Command/Control-All. And then you can use the same tabs that you use to change tabs in your web browser to tab back and forth between windows in Photoshop. And then we'll just tab in and put our zombie friend. How are you, Steve? Uh-oh. Wait a minute. What's this? Steve! Someone's cut your fingers off! Those bastards! Well, that's a bit of a problem. Old Stevie here is missing some fingers, so we're actually going to hide those diced up fingers underneath the gun. So now he looks like he's... Whoops. Now he looks like he's sitting right into the scene without any missing digits being sliced off. We'll make him just a teeny bit smaller, though. And, yeah, that's a good angle. And the lighting looks okay. It's not great, but it's okay on old Steve the zombie. So we'll close down the original of Steve. And, this looks like it's from a movie. I'm not going to use him, Mr. Massacre serial killing guy. But let's definitely use Marvin. Marvin the zombie. I think he's, I don't actually know what game that is, but I've seen footage of where Marvin is from. But I've already got old Marvin open in this tab. So let's grab Marvin and let's set him into our scene as well. Hello, Marvin. You look so excited to see us. How have you been, man? You're looking good. You're looking saucy. Unfortunately, your lighting's all jacked up, so let's actually put you on the other side. There we go. Now your lighting seems to make a little bit more sense because the light source is coming from the upper right corner of this screenshot. So there we go. Marvin sort of fits right in here. Let's make him just a little bigger, and let's put him behind Steve. Oh, don't you two just seemed like the bestest of buddies. But it looks like they could use another friend. Marvin and Steve. Maybe they could use a lady friend zombie. Let's grab this zombie who I've pre-selected. Dump her in here. I don't really need the backside of you, so let's just hit E, pull out the old eraser tool, and erase half of Cindy. Hello, Cindy. How you been? You look like you could use a shower, though, Cindy. You're covered in some gore. Looks like you've been working late at the old slaughterhouse. And then just so that you don't look weirdly, like, thrown on top of everything, let's put you behind everybody. There we go. Yeah, Marvin, Cindy, and Steve out to eat brains and murder people. Oh, it's looking great. Look at that. I think the title and everything's looking okay. Where's the title? Here's the title. Let's pop the title on top so it's not affected by any of these adjustment layers. And just for grins and biggles, let's move all of these guys into a folder. Just click them and drag them over the folder icon at the bottom of the layers window. And let's just call this Zombie Pals in the folder. And then let's select the folder. And we'll just shift, command or control, and then click all of our zombie pals in this folder. And then let's add another photo filter here. It's the image of a camera with a little kind of circle on the lower right. And let's add like a red filter. Yeah, let's punch these guys up with a little red. Not a lot, though, just a little to make them kind of feel a little red. And then that should make them kind of fit a little better into this kind of orangey red scene. But what kind of video is our Codename Cure video? Well, my video is a first look video because I don't really have any plans of playing it outside of one video. So it's going to be called a first look. So let's grab our text tool by hitting T. And my channel's branded font is on-ramp regular, available from Lost Type. But I would definitely recommend experimenting with what fonts you guys want for your own YouTube brands. But let's just put in first look. You can't really see it because it's all tiny. But let's bump that up to like 72. There we go. There's our first look text. Yeah, but that's a little big. Let's bring that down to about there. And you know, I'm not super in love with Codename Cure's elongated text. So before we finish our first look title, let's grab that cure and let's just drag it over here so that it lines up with the underside of Codename. And then let's just bump the size of this up just a smidge and cram it into the corner. That's looking a little better. Maybe we just slant it a little bit more. Perfect. And then, let's see. Let's throw a stroke on our first look. And I don't mean like a seizure, blood in your brain stroke. I mean a font stroke. So when you want to add a stroke to something, you just double-click next to its name in the Layers folder. And that'll bring up little quick layer styles that you can add to it. Like, you could add like a texture overlay, so it looks like it's got like a sandpaper. Or let's disable that. You could add an inner glow or like an inner shadow, but that's a big inner shadow. Hold on. Come back here, you big spicy shadow, you. It's kind of like to add an inner look to it so that it kind of looks like there's depth. See, it kind of looks like there's a slot carved into the text here. Let's see. Let's bump. There we go. See, it looks like it's inset. But I don't know if that's what we want, but we'll just leave that just for fun. And then let's stroke it with like a nice blue, or should we do red? Let's just double-click this color to change it. And then we'll go with like a red. It's kind of like a pink. Come on, red. Where are you? There. Oh, yeah, that was good. Yeah, first look, Codename Cure. Big fancy zombie people gonna try and eat your face. And then I only want that to be about a 12 pixel stroke thickness, so it doesn't look like it's overwhelming the image. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And if I really wanted to be fancy, let's open up here. Let's go to my desktop in this big flippin' mess. And here's my press kit that I've made for my friends if they want to add me to their thumbnails. Let's grab my regular transparent icon. Select you. Yeah, and let's just put me underneath all of these zombies. Look at them, they're so spicy. They're so evil and hungry for my brains. And then we'll just, like, put me hiding. Like, not in front of the gun. I'm not suicidal. There we go. I'm just popping out of the corner. So that says, this is a Larry Chupacabra video for my gaming channel. And I am here to tell you about Codename Cure. Join me for some adventures in getting murdered by the Zombocoms. Look at that. Isn't that fancy? That's perfect. I love it. In fact, let's add another zombie in the upper corner. Just for fun. While we're here. I don't need these other zombie pictures. I don't like those zombies. They look at me funny. So one of them does kind of look like the crab zombies from Half-Life, but, the Those are kind of iconic. I'm not sure if I like that or not. Let's use this zombie dog. There's no zombie dogs in the game, but you know, I think people will be able to see that once they get in there. We're just having some fun with our icon. So occasionally, again, when you tab in and out of Photoshop on your computer, like the controls get all weird for a sec, just tab in and out again, and you should be fine. So we just hit W to select this magic wand tool, and the magic wand just grabs everything of a particular hue of color in one go, like a quick selection tool, so that we can unlock this Doberman pincher who's missing some skin and some eyelid, and we can just quickly grab and delete that white background and then select him and paste him into our wonderful, wonderful friendship thumbnail. Oh man, there's so much friendship in here. There's Steven and whatever I named that guy, and Cindy and me, and this absolutely homicidal she-dog. I'm going to name her, I don't know, Marvin. She's Marvin the she-dog. That's why she's so angry. She has a man's name, and she's just going to be poking her head out up here. Yeah, look at that. That's perfect. So there's a little bit of like a fringe on the icon on this dog. There's like a little glow. I wouldn't worry about it. These are just quickly made icons for the purposes of just making a thumbnail. Like, no one's going to look all that closely to see that, like, uh-oh, I left a couple of pixels in this zombie's hair of white. No one cares. It's just an eye-grabbing image that we're going to use to get people to watch our sweet videos, right? That's the name of the game. Now, I'm not a fan, however, of making misleading thumbnails. If there isn't, like, zombies in a game, don't put zombies in the thumbnail. If there aren't guns in the game, don't put guns in the thumbnail. If it's not you in the video, don't put you in the thumbnail. Like, sometimes you want to just put your friend's video up because it's fun. Like, give them the credit that they deserve. Don't mislead people. And I'm talking to you YouTubers who are out there putting breasts on every one of your thumbnails when there isn't a woman in sight. That's cheap, that's lazy, and it's not classy. It's actually pretty disappointing. Disappointed in you, YouTube, sometimes. I'm looking at you. You're naughty. Larry doesn't approve of that. So anyway, that's our kind of look at how to make like a boring game that doesn't have a lot of promotional images into a really fun thumbnail. Sometimes it can be a little hinky. Sometimes you might think this is a little misleading, but there are zombies in here. There are guns in here, like tactical military guns. So I think this is in pretty good taste. And it looks pretty cool. Look at that. It's a cool dog. The dog's weirding me out. We'll get rid of the dog. I changed my mind on the dog. But this is looking pretty good. You can see it's Codename Cure. It's a first look video. It's got a snazzy shadow in those letters. Look at that. Look at that sexy shadow. Ugh, the rest of YouTube's going to be so jealous of our sexy, inner shadow of our text. Ugh, you don't even know. But hopefully this helps you in crafting some of your videos. I have a more basic video thumbnail tutorial that I've done before on my gaming channel that I will link you guys to in case you want some more information on thumbnail creation. And in general, what you want to do for these is you just want to zoom out and make sure that your text is large enough to be read on literally what is essentially the size of your thumb when you zoom all the way out. And then you also want to make sure that you can kind of tell when they get in here and kind of like look at it like, oh, there's some zombies and there's this blue Chupacabra guy. Oh man, that looks sweet. I better play me some of that. I'm actually going to bump Codename Cure's name up just a little bit so that it's kind of taking up some more space. There we go. Perfect. I think we've got a winner. Yeah, so that's how you kind of like turn like a boring thumbnail into a great snazzy thumbnail with the power of collage and free transparent images on the internet. So yeah, things to be wary of though, when you're looking for free stuff. If it looks like the artwork you want to use is somebody's handmade drawing, so when I type in like zombie PNG, some of the stuff that we find in here might actually be like someone's hand-drawn artwork. Like this looks like someone's hand-drawn illustration. What else? Like this is probably like somebody's this one right here, this is someone's hand-drawn illustration. That belongs to a single individual. It's not like a game's thumbnail. It's not a game's screenshot. It's not like a character from a game that's being widely used. So don't steal that person's image and use it in your thumbnail. Or if you do, make sure that they're fine with that. Make sure that like they have like a Creative Commons license on it. That means you're allowed to reuse it and reshare it, so long as you give them credit. Or get in contact with them. Like maybe someone's just like, oh, you want to use it in your thumbnail? Go ahead. But always give people credit and ask them first, or make sure that they're okay with it, so that you don't get like, a copyright strike on your channel for your thumbnail. It's a thing that can happen. So that's it for this one, guys. I've been your host, Larry the Chupacabra. This has been more tutorials on the Chupacabra Tutorials channel. I'll catch you next time. And if you enjoyed this, maybe subscribe, like, ask your comments and questions in the comments section. And if you have like any questions on this, I'm more than happy to help you guys out. And I'll catch you later. Oh, also maybe check out my gaming channel. So that's it. Bye, guys. Have a good one.